What is up, my dudes? Today we'll be talking about how to charge, jumpstart, and change a dead battery.
As Isaiah said, we're going to be talking about batteries, if they're dead, changing them and charging. There are many different ways to do that. There are jumper cables, there are jump packs, and there is also, it's a new trend going on, I even have one in my truck, is the solar panel that hooks up to your battery from the inside. And it helps. I use it when I go camping, so that way my battery doesn't have to wear down since the truck is just sitting. If we had to get into it, we can get into the jumper cables. Whenever you're using these, please be careful, because some people hook them up wrong, and it is not a good idea to do that. Whenever you have a dead battery, let's say that we're over here next to where my battery is. You want to hook up your red and black. Some people do just the red first and then the black afterwards. But you always want to hook up the cables to the battery that is not starting first. Now, if you want to do one and the other, do the red handle to the positive on the dead battery, then put the positive side of the other end of the cable to the charging battery that is in the car helping you, and then continue on hooking up the other two. The other things that are going on is that you have jumper packs now. This one is small. There are actually even smaller ones and flat, and there's also even bigger ones. Some of the bigger ones that some of the shops have, they're big, they're bulky, and sometimes they're kind of heavy to carry around. This one, and the other style similar to it, can actually just fit right underneath your seat. So that way you don't have to worry about it taking up a whole lot of space. You can take them with you. You can get a whole bunch of different ones, keep them in each vehicle. I have one at work and one in each vehicle. That way, I'm prepared no matter where I am. No, you don't have to do that, but it can always help someone else in the process. Now let's get to the battery. And the main thing when you're dealing with a battery, especially before you're charging and doing any of that, because there are many different forms of charging one. They have battery tenders, they have all of that, and then you have like the one I talked about, which is solar, that can just sit on the dash of your car. Whenever you're dealing with them and you're changing them out, that can get to be a little bit tricky, especially if you've never done one. There are many forms of how people take them out that can be dangerous to not only your hands, but your eyes and everything else, because those sparks can fly and do all this nasty stuff that you do not want. There are many forms of way a battery is in a car. Like in a Volkswagen, it is a pain in the butt because it's actually tucked in underneath the cowl of your car, and it's a pain in the butt to get out. It takes a lot longer. You have to move more stuff out of the way. The way that this battery is set up, though, is how some trucks are still set up to today, and primarily it's just right here. You undo it, take it out, put it back in. But we're going to get into that here in 1 second. Primarily when you want to start with taking it out, you have to see what kind of hold down it has. Now this one, it's a generic one. Most cars use it, others don't. There's actually a wedge also that some manufacturers use that are on the side. Majority of the time it takes a 13mm socket or wrench, or however you have space to deal with that. This one, however, has an 11mm, and just need to undo it here. Now, if you don't have have a regular wrench, because some people don't. They don't have as many tools as other people. You can always use an adjustable. Now sometimes that's not accessible to anyone either, but it's always nice to know that you can use that if you're in a pinch and you don't have anything else to deal with. Now once I had that nut off of there, I have to lift up and I can spin it around. Now you don't have to always undo both sides of the hold down. Some hold downs, actually you need to, depending on what's around them, because some vehicles have like their main computer sitting on top of it or along the side, or it's all getting confusing with technology nowadays being added so many things into the car. It makes things so much more difficult, but it's a learning curve. It's changed so many times since I started in the industry, and it's not going to stop. Now once you have the battery loose, because I have access to the handle here. Now keep in mind, not every battery has handles. If you have a car that you went to the dealer, had one put in, some handles, depending on which way the hold down is, they actually might take the handle off. So you have to be careful when you're lifting it out and everything to not twist too hard. You can hurt your back. I've done it. I know. I'm definitely trying to save you the hassle of that. Now before we get into taking these off, I'm going to do myself a favor and throw safety glasses on because I love my eyes. Will I absolutely need them? Probably not. Now when you're disconnecting a battery to do anything, whether you're servicing your vehicle, changing your battery, it's always a good idea to use this process every single time. Now in order to do it, you always want to take the negative off first. The reason for that is, honestly, that's just how I was taught. And when we get into it later, I will definitely make sure that I add that in and help you out to understand. Now once you loosen that one out, give it a good twist. Some of them won't let you twist. So if you had a flathead screwdriver to put in the gap, just kind of do a tiny twist to give it a little more room to come off of there. So do that little twist and it's off. And then you can go to the positive. So negative first, then positive. Now this one takes a 10 millimeter. Most of them nowadays take 10 millimeters to take the terminals off. Some of them take 12, some take 13. Very rarely will you ever see 13 anymore. Of course, twist, it's off, and then you're ready to go. And in order to put it back on, of course, it's actually in reverse. You put the positive on first, get it tightened down good before you continue. You don't ever want to leave one loose, because if you leave one loose, then you can start having electrical problems while you're going down the road and it's bumping and carrying on. It is not a good idea to have a loose terminal at all, because sometimes you can have computer problems. They're not fun, because then you're trying to figure out what the heck happened. Okay, that's snugged up. Now we just take the positive, we just finished with the positive, that messed me up. So we take the negative, we put it back on there. Just be careful and keep in mind, by attaching the negative back on, you might hear a couple little sparks happen in there, but that's because you're contacting the electricity inside the battery to continue into your vehicle. That is not a big deal. And then, as the same goes on with the other one, you tighten it down. Make sure it's not moving on either one. And then, of course, come back over, you throw your hold down back on, and then you tighten this down. I'm gonna be doing a little service here for our next video. and so I'm not going to completely put this on yet. But thank you for watching. I hope this was informative for you. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.